The more you troop, the more likely you are to find splits or cracks in your Stormtrooper armour. So let's have a look at a simple method for repairing it to stop those splits getting any worse. Here we go, here's a close-up of the split in the armour. There's one here which has already been partly repaired, which you can see that inside, and then there's another one there, which basically if you let that go too much longer, that would really start to split into the armour. Let's just get that in focus, apologies for that. So there we go, that is basically the splits in the side of the chest plate. Here we go, with the light coming through it you can see the two splits there in the armour. So one of them, as you can see by the shadow, the one on the left has already had a part repair, and the other one is the one we're going to repair today. So you can see that here. What that is basically, that lump of goo there was almost t-shirt fabric, white fabric, soaked in super glue, and that's now created a really sort of solid bond behind the ABS. So that's hopefully going to stop it splitting. We're going to do the same for this one here, which, as I say, if you let that go too long, could really develop. So we're going to have a look at that now. Right, so here we go. I've basically got this white fabric, which actually came from a bag that some speakers came in years ago. But that's what I'm going to use to basically glue behind here to create a more solid bond. And I'm going to use for this super glue Loctite Precision. So a bit of Loctite super glue, so nothing too fancy. Just to let you know, I did try this actually the other day with some white elastic, much like you would use on your armour build for certain areas like the drop boxes, but the elastic just didn't solidify. So if you want to do this properly, don't do what I did, don't try elastic, because it doesn't create a solid bond, so that's worth avoiding. Right, so here we go with the Loctite. I'm obviously doing this upside down, so I'll try my best not to cover the camera. I'm going to basically start to apply glue around the split. I don't want it to obviously soak through to the face of the armour round to the front, so I'll be careful of that. And now we'll start applying the t-shirt material. So now we've got the fabric glued onto here, that is basically over the split. But what you want to do then is to use more of your super glue on the back and sort of soak it in to the fabric. So the fabric is glued down now where we put it, because of course we put some glue either side of the split. But now what we're doing is sort of soaking this piece of fabric so that it, after it glues of course, when the super glue goes off, when the super glue hardens, you're going to hopefully just give it a bit of resistance so that it shouldn't split too much further. That's the idea basically. I've done that on both sides of the armour. The splits are still there of course. This isn't removing the split, it's just preventing it from expanding too much. So I can see on the other side, on the proper side of the armour here, there's no glue coming through, that's perfect. But as I say, we're now just giving it that sort of strength underneath. It's up to you how far you go. I applied quite a big piece of fabric here, and while I'm here I've got plenty of super glue. I'm just going to soak it in all the way down. So it's giving it, what's that, maybe 1.5 to 2 centimetres. And again, this will solidify and hopefully help to strengthen that little area. There we go, I think that's enough super glue now. So what I'll do is I'll let that dry a little bit, and then I'm going to use some tape, which is what I've done on the other side. This one here is just some ferociously strong tape, apparently from T-Rex. It's clear tape, and I'll then put that over this just to give it a bit of extra protection, and I've done that on the other side as well. So we'll see how that goes very shortly. There we go, so our glue has now pretty much gone off, as in the glue has hardened. So I've now got this clear tape. This doesn't really do a lot. I just like the fact that it sort of covers it up a bit and maybe stops it from rubbing on your undersuit or something like that. I just think it neatens up the repair really. So again, that's not doing anything structural, I would imagine, it's just clear tape. But it does now mean that we're less likely to get nicks from our armour or from the repair onto our undersuit. So that basically is it. It's not magic, it's not going to hold it forever, but as I say, just because it's now going to create a more solid bond underneath, it will hopefully stop that split from spreading too much further. Just taking a look at the other side of the armour here, and again, this is the same repair. That repair was done a couple of years ago and the split hasn't expanded, but of course, as I say, it's not a magic trick. It's not going to repair the actual split, but it is just hopefully going to hold it. And as I say, it's the same method. The white fabric in here, doused in super glue and then covered just with this clear tape. Of course, if you wanted to, you could use a Stormtrooper's best friend, and that would be a nice roll of white gaffer tape. Oh yes. Now that the glue is fully dried, we'll have a look at the armour. So just above my finger there is this split that we've just repaired. It's very hard to see on camera because it's still a clean split, so it doesn't have any, hasn't built up any dirt basically. Whereas this split here is easier to see. That's an older one, and that, as I say, has also been repaired. So what was happening before, when I flexed the armour like this, you were seeing the two parts come away from each other. But as you can see now, I can give that quite a bit of movement, and it is all staying together as one piece. Again, this isn't a magic fix. It's not actually repairing the crack itself. It is just stopping it from hopefully splitting any further into the armour. So as I say, one repair here, and as I showed you from the inside, that's just using the super glue and white fabric. And again, that is now a lot more sturdy than it was before and a lot less likely to split. And there we are. That's a simple way to repair cracks or splits in ABS Stormtrooper armour using some sort of white fabric like t-shirt material and super glue. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Any comments, drop them in the chat or visit whitearmour.net. That's the home of the Imperial Stormtroopers for the 501st, and that's where I saw this information in the first place. So do feel free to check that out. If you've enjoyed the video, do feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.